sports, and politics. Get ready to rumble! You wanna talk smack? You in the right place. So take a step back before I get all up in your
remember, because I don't remember. I remember every bit of this.
You're the dudes holding on the phone line. Your voice will be heard, sir.
Next caller, please.
Jerry's gonna get him.
Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics.
Listeners are asking questions about this week's games, not Jerry's personal beef. So what's your thought?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Fantasy Sports and Politics. It's me, Mr. FSP, doing what I do because I do it for you all day, every day. And I am here because I love me some me, and I love what I do, and I love helping you. So I'm a little bit late today. I was doing something very worthwhile and something that I feel helps someone. So whenever I get the opportunity to do that, I'm going to do it. And I'm very thankful for the student, Arcel Ajiz. The kid is awesome. Super, super awesome. And I'm telling you, Arcel is a guy that you need to look out for in the future for big, big things, okay? On today's show, though, we're going to break down the AFC West. The AFC West. Where do I see things moving with the AFC West? How they may impact your fantasy output? And I'll bring up some questions in regards to whether or not the Chiefs have what it takes to get back to the Super Bowl. Now, spoiler, I think they do. However, I think this is probably going to be the hardest. It's going to be the hardest route that they've had to take in their entire Andy Reid, Pat Mahomes era. I think when you look at what they have and what the other teams have in that division, there's going to be some hiccups. They're not going 15-2 this year. Last year, it was by hook and by crook, literally. Last second stuff. Chip shot field goals getting blocked or missed. I think that was the warning sign as to what the Chiefs were going to face this upcoming season. With that being said, I think we look at everything's on the table for the AFC West, right? Even the Raiders, who I think aren't ready for prime time, I'll put it that way, have an opportunity to make things happen in this division. I don't expect the Raiders to, but I do see a bunch of opportunity lined up for teams in the AFC West. Also, after we do the breakdown, we're going to talk about this potential ESPN purchase of the NFL Network. Basically, Disney buying the NFL Network. I have some issues with that. Not only do I have some issues with it, there are some questions that we need to ask ourselves as we look at this potential purchase. One question I have is, which Sunday morning program will generate the most interest from fans? Personally, I like the NFL Network, personally. NFL game day, I love the camaraderie. I love the semi-professionalism. I don't get that much from, ESPN Sunday uh, football program. They're cool and all. They're very structured, very, you know, business-like and oriented, but I don't get that football feel that I want. However, we'll talk about that shortly. Let's do what we do because we do what we do. Do. All right. Anyway, what music do I want to play today? You know what? This is the NFC West. Move. Cinematic movie. Not like Biggie, it was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. No. It's a light, delicate set of chords and strings to tell the story. So let's start off by talking about the Denver Broncos. I'm going to tell you, I'm not the biggest fan of the Broncos. I'm not. Only because the Denver Broncos they've got some stuff that's on the rise. And I know I've touted their defense. Last year's defense was pretty daggone good. But they got a problem. Inside linebacker Alex Singleton is out for the season with a torn ACL. That's a major cog in that defense. Now, I don't know what changed and made them this stand up. I'm a fight, even though my offense might sputter. Maybe it's because the offense didn't sputter that much last year and they weren't tired. But then we have to ask ourselves, hey, Bo Nix, he played through a broken back last season. It really wasn't a broken back. He had an injury. Can he come back and be better this year with a receiving core that's 1 year older and played a whole season with him? Cortland Sutton's still there. That was his cash cow. Can he find dependency on other receivers? I don't know. Can Denver balance high expectations after high draft picks actually produced from last year? I don't know. So when we talk about the Denver Broncos, there are no real competitions right now. The blueprint that Sean Payton has laid down seems like it's working. The Denver Broncos, dare I say, looks like a well-oiled machine going into year 2 with Bo Nix. But with that middle linebacker or inside linebacker tearing his ACL, how will the defense be affected? Normally, the middle linebacker or inside linebacker is the person that's making all the calls, putting people in the right positions, stopping the run. Because both outside linebackers in a 4-3, one has to cover the tight end. One has to pretty much check the running back out the backfield, whether it's going to the left or right, whichever way they're going to do it. And the middle or inside has to control the flow of the defensive front and get to the runner and run plays. Middle linebackers nowadays don't really chase the back out of the backfield. Normally it's a dime or a nickel defense on the field now that the NFL has really dove straight into 3 wide receivers and 1 tight end and 1 running back. It's called the 11 package, right? 1 and 1. Yep. So that middle linebacker or inside linebacker's role is more than an orchestra. Literally, that middle linebacker is the linchpin to that defense. We'll see what happens, right? So I don't have my black book with me. I got my brown book. I got my brown pen. Oh my gosh. I'm so unprepared right now. Oh goodness. Well, I'm looking on my desk for my other utensils or here we go. So I got a blue pen and a brown book, and I'm gonna start talking about the Broncos. Now this brown book is normally my notebook for my authoring aspects, writing books and stuff like that, right? I guess I'm gonna write a book on the AFC West today, starting off with the Broncos. Let's dive into this record, shall we? And feel free to leave a comment. Feel free to leave a comment if you want to get involved. I have no issue with that whatsoever. I may post it. I may, make a comment on it. Just be prepared for that. Okay? So week 1 starts off kind of, let me not say this. I'm going to say it anyway. It's going to start off kind of easy with the Titans. With Levitt's out, Ward has been getting the bulk of the first team snaps. He's going to be the first string starter. We knew that was going to happen unless Levitt's found a way to like drastically change the viewpoint of the head coach. But with an injury that's going to keep him out all year, it's Ward's job off the break. I don't think Ward is going to do well versus Denver's defense, if Singleton is there or not. So, of course, the Broncos get a W. Week 2 against the Colts. Interesting matchup. You say, why is it an interesting matchup? Because if the Colts go with Richardson, my opinion, there's no competition here. The Broncos win. But if the Colts go with Daniel Jones in week 2 versus the Broncos, then it's a little more competitive. I think Daniel Jones gives the best opportunity to the Colts to utilize Jonathan Taylor, to use Pittman Jr. to open up that offense and matriculate it down the field. Think about it. Jonathan Taylor's a beast. He's probably going to drop in a lot of fantasy drafts because of the uncertainty. But when he's healthy and in the game, he produces. Daniel Jones adds that ability to run and throw that Richardson needs to develop. And at this level, didn't have a lot of time to develop it. 2 straight years of injuries, missing multiple games. New ownership because the previous one passed. But it's his daughters. Are they tired of Anthony Richardson right now in Indianapolis? Most likely. They're like, look, dude, this is year 3. You still got to prove yourself. And I don't think he's going to have the opportunity. Denver's going to win this game versus the Colts. But if Daniel Jones is the quarterback of that game for the Colts, it's going to be a lot more difficult because I think the Colts can actually score with the right quarterback. Denver wins. Week 3, great matchup. First divisional matchup, right, versus the Chargers. Chargers are a team that has completely changed their makeup with the addition of Harbaugh. There is a toughness about the Chargers that says, we dare you to stop us from running the ball. They got Najee Harris now. J.K. Dobbins did a great job last year. I know, I had him in fantasy until he got hurt. I think Najee Harris is better with that tough offensive line. Lad McConkey's there. We're going to talk about the Chargers probably next. But I like the Chargers a lot this year. I think this is going to be a typical AFC West matchup where it's going to be tough. I don't expect a blowout. Justin Herbert is healthy, right? He needs weapons, though. Again, we're going to talk about it. But they're a run-first, run-often team now, which preserves that defense. This is pretty much a mirror match to me, except I like Herbert at quarterback over Knicks. So, Broncos get an L versus the Chargers. Week 4, already told you, I don't like the Bengals at all this year. I think the Bengals are going to be terrible. They just signed their first-round draft pick to $18 million, $10 million guaranteed. And the young man is going to experience his first real taste of NFL action going into regular camp. They still haven't signed Hendricks, or Hendricks is signed. They have not provided him a new contract. A lot of dysfunction over there. I don't care if Jamar Chase, Higgins, and Burrow are there. I don't think it's a good fit with the defense. Broncos beat the Bengals. Then they go to the Eagles in week 5. Tough matchup. I think the Eagles defense is young and tough and rugged, where the Broncos are as well. The difference is, I believe that the offense of the Eagles, Saquon, AJ, Hurts, Slim Reaper, Dallas Goedert, if he's still there because there's rumors, are a couple notches above the offense of the Broncos. And it's in Philly. Now, it's not during bad weather, which really doesn't matter. Denver plays in bad weather. They play a mile high up, so, you know. But Philly, they're out to prove that last year was last year, and this year they're going to repeat what they did last year. I think they're on a mission. And I think Denver takes the L. Week 6. Now, check this out, ladies and gentlemen. Justin Fields had a toe injury that he had to be carted off of practice. Right? Does that make any difference to me? Maybe. That also tells me the Jets need to go get somebody other than Tyrod Taylor. Because that's the backup. Tyrod Taylor's good, but he is not going to be the long-term answer there. I think you go out and you trade for Kirk Cousins. And if Shedeur is on the chopping block because he's not getting any reps, meaningful reps now, let the brother go. Send him to New York. Perfect area for him. You know? But the Jets need a major insurance policy behind Justin Fields. I still think Denver beats him, whether it's Fields or, well, I ain't gonna say if it's, I gotta think about that one. If they go out, if the Jets go out and get Kirk Cousins, I may have to rethink this one. But Kirk Cousins isn't there. I'm not going to go there. So I'm going to give the Broncos the W. Week 7, they stay they went to New York to the Jets. Now they're home for the Giants. It's the Giants, guys. It's the Giants. W. Week 8 gets a little saucy. Dallas comes to town. Depending on what Dallas looks like, by the end of the preseason will determine if they are going to be a real competitor. This whole Michael Parsons thing and Jerry saying this and all that, if Dak can work his magic with Pickens and Lamb and Ferguson, Javonte Williams is the running back there, along with a rookie, and Javonte is going to want a little revenge for them not wanting him back in Denver, it might be a bad game for Denver. And I don't like Dallas, but I'm going to give Dallas this W. So Denver gets the L. At Houston, week 9. Now I've been getting a lot of flack on my Instagram and TikTok about how I feel about the Houston Texans defense and how I feel about the Houston Texans offense. I like Houston, don't get me wrong. Too many changes at one time is not a recipe for success. It can happen. It can happen. But you're going against Denver, who I said earlier, they're finding their stride in year 2 because year 1 under Bo Nix was a pretty good success. And I believe that Sean Payton has found a little mix there to make it work. Houston has a problem, and they're going to lose. They're going to lose to the Denver Broncos. Broncos gets the W. Now we play the Raiders. Another division game, second division game, going into week 10. I've already told you I don't like the Raiders too much. I'm going to get into what I see the Raiders doing once we get to the Raiders. But even Max Crosby said it this week. You got to make yourself believe you're going to go do X, Y, Z. To me, that was a sideways admission of understanding the Raiders aren't that good this year and probably won't be. Jacoby Myers is your number 1 wide receiver. Like I said, we'll talk about the Raiders later. So, Denver gets the W. Now, they host Kansas City week 11, just before their bye. Kansas City is on a warpath at this point. I think they're more than capable of dispatching Denver. It's never an easy game, though. It's never an easy game. It's the second week in November, and Kansas City is doing what they do in November, which is all I do is win, no matter what. And Denver Denver might have some problems in this one. I got to give it to Kansas City. So that's an L to the Broncos. Bye week, week 12. Very important. Very, very, very important. Because that gives Denver an opportunity to heal up going into this home stretch. Because they face their division opponents once already. But out of the next 7 weeks, or what is it, six weeks, they got to face their division opponents again. And some tougher talent that they didn't see at the beginning of the season. So they're going to start week 13 at Washington. I already told you, they're not going to beat Washington at Washington. They go to the Raiders, right? The Raiders might not do well this year, but it's one thing they can do, and that's play Mahomes pretty good. The question is, will the Denver Broncos be able to stop Gentry, Bowers? If they can, the Raiders won't win, and they'll get swept. So, I give them a W. Raiders get swept by Denver this year. And I'm not going to change that until I see something different during the season. I can't, because right now, Pete Carroll is building that brand, and he doesn't have all the pieces of the puzzle to build that brand the way he wants to. Then you run into the Packers. The Packers in week 15, Packers are fighting. Packers are a better team, in my opinion. I know Green Bay is going to Denver. The weather's not going to matter to them. They play in that crap all the time. And it's mid-December, so who cares? I think the Packers win that game. So, Denver takes an L. Jacksonville. Will Jacksonville be serious? Will they be serious? I don't know. I don't know. But I know I gave Jacksonville a loss, so Denver gets the W. At Kansas City. Now, I already told you, Kansas City and Denver always play tough. Always. That tells me this is week 17. They're not going to lay down. The Chiefs aren't. The Broncos aren't going to lay down either, because they're trying to win the division. Week 17, the Denver Broncos upset the Kansas City Chiefs and possibly, haven't gone over the schedule yet, possibly take the lead for the division going into the final game of the season. We'll talk about it. Week 18, they finish up with the Chargers. I think the Chargers are a far superior team. They might run into some rough patches depending on their receivers. I think the Chargers split with the Broncos, so that means the Broncos win this last game. It can go either or, because the Chargers are coming to Denver. In week 3, the Chargers are at home. The Chargers are now built to be an outdoor running team in the winter, but I don't know if they're quite there yet. Mile High, last game of the season. It's January. I don't know. They play Kansas City on Christmas. So we'll see. But with that being said, let me make sure I got all this before I go further. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So this Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is not in America. That Jets game, it's in London. I should have mentioned that. I did not, but it's okay. It's okay. So with that being said, I have the Broncos at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11-6. Not a bad record. Not a bad record for the Denver Broncos. Now, it could swing either way, but I see them comfortably doing that. Comfortably. Let's talk about our next team up. And I know if my buddy House, Calvert Pendergrass, was on here, he'd want to talk about his Raiders. And I'd let him. Then I show him how disappointed he's going to be. That's just me. Let's talk about these Raiders, okay? Major roster development released defensive tackle Christian Wilkinson after disputes about his foot rehab, right? They left $35 million guaranteed on the table. Pete Carroll has been praising his young talent for stepping up in the place, specifically Jonah Lalu and Tyree Wilson. But again, he's rebuilding this brand. And it's not going to be immediate. It's not. Defensive tackle Adam Butler is listed as questionable approaching week 1. Now, we can believe it or don't believe it, but there's some things here that make a difference. The linebacker, Spate, who I love, is in New England right now. They replaced him with Jermaine Pratt, who was in Cincinnati. I love Pratt. Love him. Spate, I love them too. Two players that play the game very similarly. The difference is Pratt has begun to have some injuries. He can still lead that defense. That's Matt Crosby's defense, but who else is on the defense with him other than Pratt? You've got some problems there, right? And Pratt's dealing with some hamstring tightness. He should be okay throughout the preseason, and he should be fine going into the season unless he has a tear. You have to figure that out and wait and see, but you're going to need him on the field, right? Can young defensive tackles fill the void left by Wilkins is the question that you have to ask yourself. Is because Wilkins is a big dude, and he was a big force. And I'm quite sure the Raiders wouldn't have released him if they weren't confident in the young Lions. Think about it this way. The old proven lion controls the pride. But at some point, one of his sons takes over the pride. That's the way it works. The circle of life. You know, from the Lion King, Mufasa to Simba. Not Scar, because Scar's old and devilish, but Simba. And right now, Lalu, Pegasus, and Wilson are going to have to be Simba. Does it signal the cultural reset under Pete Carroll? That's what I'm saying it does. I'm saying the release of Wilkins sets a culture change on this team. Does it mean that we're going to have instant impact? Maybe. That's what they're banking on. But it's going to take time, especially when you got the Kansas City Chiefs in there, the newly minted power game of the Chargers. Now, Chargers run game, Raiders run game, very similar, but coached differently. Remember that, coached differently. The linebackers have always been a problem, at least in the recent years of the Raiders. Can Jermaine Pratt fix that? Because last year was only one guy that could tackle at the linebacker level. And he kept getting hurt because he was making all the tackles. That was fake. Who's now in New England, which I'm telling you, I am high on New England's defense this year. I really am. Especially playing the teams they play. But can Pratt come in or Pratt, I should say, come in and do the things needed to get this defense over the hump? I don't think so. He needs some help. Crosby can get the pressure, but Pratt's going to he's going to have to be all over the field. Diablo is a strong safety that was converted because he wasn't that big of a linebacker. And he can't hit the players coming through that hole the way a linebacker needs to hit them. Make tackles. Good player. Just not that hole filler. Okay? With Watkins gone and rookies promoted, can the Raiders defense become an unexpected strength to this team? Because we know Geno is going to hand the ball to Gentry. Geno's going to throw the ball to Brock Bowers. Geno's going to throw the ball to oh my gosh, I had his name earlier, and I just blanked on it. Oh my God. See? Are you drafting a receiver from the Raiders? Probably not. You drafting Gentry? Probably. Jacoby Myers. Look, PPR machine, but there's nobody really there to support him other than Brock Bowers in that receiving game. Brock Bowers broke Mike Ditka's all-time record for tight end receptions and yards. They're going to key on this guy. But you still need somebody on the other side, outside, to help Jacoby Myers. They just don't have it. They just don't have it. I'm sorry, Raiders, but that defense, will it be the key to strengthening the outlook for the Raiders? They're going to have to be. But that's my question to you. We'll see what happens. Let's get into this Raiders breakdown. All right. Remember I said the Patriots went and got the former starting inside linebacker? Well, they played in week 1. And I'm telling you, I love the Patriots defense. And it's in New England. Doesn't matter about the weather because it's week 1. Patriots going to come out firing, and they're going to fire hard. So the Raiders are going to take an L week 1. Week 2, they face the Chargers. First division game, another L. Now expect a lot of running. In week 2, Gentry and Najee should have monster carries. Monster carries. This is going to be a slobber knocker, in my opinion. A very defensive heavy game, but a lot of running. That's what I'm putting out there. Sue me, whatever. I think that's going to be the case, okay? But the Chargers, again, in my opinion, are the better team. They have the better weapon set. So, again, the Raiders start 0-2. Week 3 at Washington. I'm not picking the Raiders to beat Washington. At Washington, at that. It might be a little tough for the first couple of quarters. But as long as Washington can stop the run, they can run away with the game. That's 0-3 for the Raiders. Now, week 4, they host the Chicago Bears, the new look Chicago Bears. Ben Johnson, I'm going to tell you right now, great scheme. He has Eric Bieniemy as the running backs coach. I love it. absolutely love it. DeAndre Swift will not. The rest of those guys will not. But the Bears need to fix their defense. I think the Raiders can run all over the Bears defense. The Bears defense needs to step up because the offense might be clicking. You know, Caleb and DJ might be clicking. You know, the tight ends and Williams might be clicking. The run game might be okay. But week 4, Raiders got that number. If it was later on in the season where the Bears have clicked a little better, I would have given it to the Bears. But in week 4, the Raiders are going to dominate the Bears by running the ball down their throat. First win of the season, week 4. Week 5 at Indianapolis. Again, depending on the quarterback. I'll say this. This is a game where Richardson will probably be the better option. Because if you can run both Taylor and Richardson against that suspect Raider defensive line, you're great. Now, Danny Dimes can throw the ball. The secondary of the Raiders isn't that bad. It's the linebackers and the front line, defensive line, that you're worried about. It's at Indianapolis. I already said the Colts are going to be in the top 2 drafting. The Raiders get the W. Going to Tennessee, or Tennessee comes to Vegas. Now I'm going to refer back to what I gave the Titans. Oh, I can't because I don't have my black book. I will say that I do not like the Titans, and I'm going to say it again why I don't like Cam Ward. Cam Ward, you're welcome to come up here and or come on the show and debate me or say what you're going to say. But the flaws in your game that I see, I just don't like them. And I think Pete Carroll can devise a scheme with that defense to stop you, Ridley, and anybody else in that offense. The question is, can your defense stop the run? Can your defense stop Brock Bowers? And I say the answer is no. So the Raiders get 3 wins in a row after losing 3 straight to open the season. They're now 3-3. Everybody's feeling good. And then you get week 7 at Kansas City. Yeah. It's week 7. The Raiders are feeling good about themselves. They think they can do this. They think they can do that. We'll see. Bottom line is, Kansas City wins this game. It's a rivalry. It's a rivalry. But I don't think the Raiders are right now set to beat Kansas City. Maybe next year. Spoiler, Kansas City sweeps them. But it's an L for the Raiders. Going into week 8. A week 8 bye. Which is a good thing because in week 8, you got to think about it. You've been beat up the first couple games. You've won the last 3. Then you lost week 7 to Kansas City. And you're coming back with a not too bad second half of a season. So you try your best to put things together. And who better to do that against in week 9 than Jacksonville? Depending on what Jacksonville team comes out, this should be a good game in Vegas for Vegas. Now, I think Jacoby Myers is going to get locked up by Travis Hunter. Just me. Right? And if Travis Hunter plays offense more, him and Brian Robinson Jr. are going to light up that secondary. So I got to give the W to Jacksonville. Sorry, Raiders. Then you got Denver, week 10. I've already told you Denver's going to win that game. So it's an L for the Raiders. Then the Cowboys come to town Monday night. The Raiders aren't ready to cover and deal with all the weapons the Cowboys have. Leave it at that. It's an L for the Raiders. Week 12. Cleveland. If Cleveland does trade Shador, whatever, man. I'm not a believer in their run game. I'm not a believer in their offense just yet. I got to see what it looks like. It's not there for me right now. But Cleveland, you have a problem. The defense is good. That's the one saving grace in this game. That defense may be able to stop Gentry. Bowers, Jacoby Myers, and whoever else steps up, I don't know. I'm going to give the W to the Raiders. Week 13. Second game with the Chargers at the Chargers. Already told you, the Chargers sweep them. That's an L. Then we go to Denver. Denver comes to the Raiders. Look. What did I give Denver? Woo. Denver gets the W. So the Raiders take the L. Week 15 at the Eagles. Come on. L. 16 at the Texans. Texans got their stuff together by week 16. They've got their identity. It's at Houston. L. The Giants come to town, the Giants come to town. They get a W. Week 17, and to close out the season with the Chiefs with an L. Sorry, Raiders fans, but it's a little better than last year. Not much though. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, it's not. 5-12. I believe that was their record last year. I believe 5-12. But here's the bright side. It's Pete Carroll's first year, and he's gonna get better year 2 with this team. 5-12 is not his standard. They might even go 6-11, but 5-12 is what I see. 5-12 is what I see. Now, I am not the guru. I think we need to consider all the elements that go into this. I really do. Because what we're going to see is the Raiders coming out trying to play a brand of ball that they haven't played in a long time. Are they equipped to do it? I don't know. Let's go to the Chargers, y'all. Let's go to the Chargers. Who's got it better than us? Nobody, except the Ravens, because they say the same thing. Listen, I love the Harbaugh brothers. I really do. I love their brand of football. Dude, I can't say anything bad about them other than what, happened at Michigan. Did some stuff he shouldn't have did, but hey, Jim Harbaugh, love you, guy. And I love the Chargers this year. I love the Chargers this year. Really do. All right. Let's start off with them. Firstly, Davenport. Najee Harris. He had, the eye injury during the 4th of July, but he's going to play the season. Might miss a few games, right? But he's not on IR. That's key. They're going to run him. They're also going to run the backup too. I expect the Chargers to go hog wild in the run game like they did last year until JK got hurt. Once JK got hurt, their fortunes changed because they couldn't run the ball and they could not depend on their receivers. Another small issue, linebacker Del'Shawn Phillips is on the PUP list with a unspecified injury, but unable to perform at this time. That doesn't mean he'll stay there. Hopefully, he'll come back. Integral part of the defense. And it's expected to play week 1. So let's think about that. If he can do it, they don't miss a beat on defense. Jalen Reagor. This is the Chargers' answer to a number 2 to Ladd McConkey, who is a PPR machine, but he's not the guy. Right now he is, especially in that offense. And he's questionable. Jalen Reagor is with a little lower body issue, but again, it's preseason. It's training camp. But that's their answer to the opposite side of Ladd McConkey. Worries me. The offensive tackle, Savion Washington, is on the PUP list and may stay there through the first couple games. But he's not the tackle that scares you if you see OT PUP list. No. You want that big boy, that left tackle, to be out there. As long as the left tackle's out there, Justin Herbert is going to stand up straight, deliver the ball. Najee Harris, or whoever the running back's going to be, is going to run the ball effectively. When he's out, not a good look. But I love it. So, Nyheim Hines comes back or returns to the Chargers this year, right? But Amari Hampton is their future. So it's a crowded running back room. You got Hassan Haskins and Jarrett Patterson, along with Amari Hampton, Nyheim Hines, and Najee. If Najee's not careful, Amari might take that job. Haskins is a Harbaugh kid from college, so he's got a little love for him. He's going to try to keep him on the team, but we'll see. Who steps up in the running game while Harris is out is the real question. Because if you got to do a power running game with a rookie, second-year guy, and a guy that is probably camp legs, there may be some issues there because different running styles. All power, but some a little bit more shifty than the other. So Najee might lose your job, and it's a 1-year contract. So you might want to think about playing with fireworks next year. Just don't do it. Pierre Paul, JPP, lost his fingers, but he still was the impact, right? Don't lose your eyes. Forest fires. I was about to do a Smokey the Bear thing, but lost it. All right. Can the young receiving core like Reagor and Johnston deliver early? And Johnston has a problem with catching the ball, but he's a receiver. I'm staying away from Johnston. I really am. Staying away from Reagor too. Or Reagor. Lad McConkey will be the only receiver I'm getting. And that's a shame because Justin Herbert used to be one of the top going quarterbacks in the NFL. It's a new system, guys. Last year showed you. He can throw it, but he's not going to throw like he used to. He's not. He's not. So watch out. Now, the consistency of the Chargers hinges on that run game, right? And if that run game is inconsistent, the Chargers will be as well, regardless of what the defense looks like. 3 yards in a cloud of dust only gets you 9 when you need 10 for a first down. Harbaugh is not going to go for it every fourth down. No. So, how will this team utilize all their running backs, maintain a strong offensive line, and keep Herbert upright to be successful? I don't know, but let's go over the schedule and discuss it in depth. All right? The Chargers. Week 1. Ooh. The sketch gods were not kind to the Chargers coming out, right? Chargers start off with 3 straight divisional games. Kansas City, the Raiders, and the Broncos. Whoa. Now on NFL.com, it says the Chargers game versus Kansas City is going to be on YouTube. Are they trying to break YouTube? Friday, September 5th. Interesting. Because Philly and Dallas open up on Thursday. Week 1, upset. Chargers beat KC. Yeah, I said it. Week 2, the Raiders, they beat the Raiders. Week 3, the Chargers face the Broncos. And just to verify before I do this, Broncos take an L, Chargers got a W. I know, hard to believe. Hard to believe. Week 4, they go to the Giants. W. Week 5, Washington comes to LA. This is not a homer thing. This is Washington has way more firepower than the Chargers thing. Chargers take their first L of the season versus Washington. Then they go to Miami. They're going to whoop up on Miami. That's a W. Week 7, the Colts come to them. W. Vikings, week 8 at home. Week 8, McCarthy should be a little better and accustomed to his tools now, right? JJ should be on fire. The running game should be smoother. Addison should be good. Coming back, I think he's suspended for like the first 4 or something like that. But he should be good. Hockenson should be good. Defense is stellar. I got to give it to Minnesota. It's an L. Tennessee, Week 9 at Tennessee. Y'all know how I feel about Tennessee right now. That's a W. Then the Chargers play Pittsburgh Week 10 at home. I think Pittsburgh is going to be on some ish this year. So the Chargers take an L. They go to Jacksonville Week 11. It's a W. And you know what? They get a bye week 12. The Chargers are a legit playoff team. They are a legit contender for this division. The schedule didn't start off kind, but it got really special for them towards the latter part of the season. And at week 12, a bye says, okay, heal up and go on this run. You open back up versus the Raiders, right? Did I have the Chargers splitting with? No, I had the Chargers losing to the. I had the Chargers beating the Raiders, so they're going to beat them here. Week 14, though, Philly, that's an L. Week 15, they already beat Kansas City at home to start the season, but they're going to lose to Kansas City in Arrowhead Week 15. 2 back-to-back losses. At Dallas, Week 16, another loss. Don't fret, mon frere, because Week 17, you got Houston. It's not a complete meltdown, but it's not a good thing. But they beat Houston. And Week 18, they beat the Broncos. Let me make sure I did that on this end. No. I had the Broncos winning. So, let me give them an L. So last month, the Chiefs stumble. They win 1 out of the last 4 games. And it's okay, but going to the playoffs, you want to be strong, right? I have the Chiefs finishing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10-7. So I have the Broncos ahead of the Chiefs in the division. But 10-7 gets these guys in the playoff. Or right there on the verge. Right there on the verge. Can Kansas City do better than 11-6? Can they do better than 11-6? Let's find out. Now, the Chiefs and Chiefs Kingdom, they always got something up their sleeve. Always. Right? They always come out and they play tough ball, but they always need a wake-up call, get things going. And that wake-up call is week 1 versus the Chargers, which I already told you. Let's talk about what's going on with the Chiefs. The Chiefs have training camp injuries already, but it's going to get fixed, right? Jawan Taylor, cornerback Christian Fulton, and tight end Trey Watson. Starting Campbell active PUP list and won't participate initially. Nothing really to worry about. You worry about that type of stuff once you get towards the end of the preseason and they haven't had any reps. That's when you start worrying about it. While most of the roster is healthy, rookie tackle Josh Simmons, recovering from a torn pectoral tendon, is drawing praise and may anger the left side. Rashee Rice is leading receiving in early drills, but Rashee Rice also has to deal with a suspension. And Simmons was my number 3 or number 4 rated left tackle, even though he had that pectoral injury. Kansas City stole him. They literally stole him. He's going to give Pat another 5 years before they, even think about changing quarterbacks, and they need that. I would say Kansas City has a healthy Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce, Isaiah Pacheco, Pat Mahomes. That's diabolical. Diabolical. And on the defensive side, they're pretty good. Pretty doggone good. Remember, McDuffie, Jones, all those cats are still there. And all I can say is they all know how to be used. All of them. Right? How will depth change at tackle and cornerback impact the Chiefs' Super Bowl chances? We'll see. We'll see. How can Rashee Rice step up and be the number one wide receiver that Pat Mahomes needs? After his suspension, Rashee Rice is that number one wide receiver. Don't expect much from Hollywood. Don't expect much from Xavier Worthy. But Rashee Rice, once he's back, big body receiver that knows how to catch the ball and move once he gets it. And if they're running Pacheco like they normally do, diabolical. With the line in flux, how would the offense protect and adapt Pat Mahomes? I think this year's offensive line is probably better than last year's, even with the rookie. Even with the rookie. I think Kansas City has a way of designing plays to get the ball out of Pat's hands so he doesn't have to take a hit. Sometimes Pat takes a hit and he'll need to, he'll run. Patrick Mahomes doesn't slide as often as he should, but that pocket is there. I think it's going to be better for him this year than it was last year. I really do. We'll see what happens. With that being said, let's go to these games. I already told you, week 1 is going to be an upset versus the Chargers. So they're going to get an L. Week 2, Super Bowl rematch. It's at Arrowhead Stadium. Not a neutral site. I think Kansas City wins this. I really do. Week 3 at the Giants. At the Giants. W. Week 4. Ravens come to town. not Travis. Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson are a problem. What else do I need to tell you? What else do I need to tell you? They are a problem. And with them being a problem, I don't think Kansas City fixes it. I think Kansas City loses. Just me. One division game so far, and then they go to Jacksonville. W. Detroit has their number. Week 6. Detroit will smash them and get smashed. Different offensive coordinator, different defensive coordinator, same players. How they're utilized will determine if Detroit steps up a bit. With that being said, I'm giving the Chiefs an L because I think Detroit wins this game. I told you the Chiefs are going to sweep the Raiders. That's week 7. I'll be honest. I love my team. They're going to lose to Kansas City. Refs are going to do something. Just my thought. Chiefs beat Washington week 8. Week 9. Buffalo, who actually has the number of Kansas City sometimes. The Bengals are the ones that really have the number of, right? But it's in Buffalo, not Arrowhead. Buffalo, week 9 with upset. Week 10 is a bye week. Pretty good place to have it. Week 11, they go to Denver. And like I said, I think it's going to be a harder challenge for KC this year to be a dominant team in their division because talent has gotten better in the division. And because of that, and it's the second division game going into the second half of their season, they take an L to Denver. Back-to-back L's has not happened in a long time in Kansas City. And it won't last because week 12, Indy comes to town. W. Then Dallas. They go to Dallas. Going to Dallas on Thanksgiving. L. They're cheating for him. Week 14. Sorry, Houston, but I think you're going to have a lot of problems. W. Now, week 15, Chargers. They beat them. That means 16, 17, and 18 are nut job games. Week 16 at Tennessee, you know what I'm going to say. Week 17 at Denver. Let me check. I had Denver beating them. Okay, that's an L. Week 18. Raiders. I missed the Raiders game earlier, didn't I? I think I did. Yeah, week 7. Week 18. I think the Raiders have laid down just a little bit. It's week 18. And KC has already won the division. Even though it's a tight race between them and Denver, I say they beat the Raiders. All right. So, quick recap before we go over the Chiefs' record. I have the Broncos at 11-6, the Raiders 5-12, the Chargers 10-7. Also said there's going to be a competition for this division, and it is. Did Kansas City come back out on top? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Did I just give the Chiefs 9-8? Let me recount that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I just gave the Chiefs 9-8. I got to take a break. I need something to drink on that. Because I'm putting this on paper. The Chiefs 9-8? I know I'm going to catch a lot of flack for this one. I know that. But I'm being a man. I'm going to stick with it. Chiefs go 9-8, finishing 3rd in the AFC West. I have Denver winning division. The Chargers coming in second. The Chiefs coming in third. And the Raiders coming in last. I'm about to catch a lot of heat on this one. I mean, oof. It could happen. They're not omnipotent. I'm not going to second guess myself, even though it sounds like I'm about to second guess myself. I'm sticking to it. 9-8 on the Chiefs. Book it, Dano. Maybe not bet on it, but book it. All right. With that being the case, wow. I don't believe I just did that. That is crazy. Let's talk about, especially with them having so much. Oh my goodness. I'm worried now. I'm worried about that. I am worried. I shouldn't be, but I am. All right, moving on. Let's talk about the news of the week with the NFL. We're not talking about the NFLPA. I did that last couple of weeks. We're talking about the possible purchase by Disney, aka ESPN in this case, of the NFL Network. Jerry Jones and company have been trying to sell the NFL Network for a couple of years now. ESPN is the worldwide leader in sports. Got it. Here's the thing. Rich Eisen's show, The Rich Eisen Show, is now going to be streaming on ESPN networks and platforms. Telltale sign. The NFL, it's an entity, it's a business, right? It costs them a lot of money to run these shows and have this network, even though I love the network. I love it. Football season, NFL Network. I don't even bother with ESPN. I'm not even joking. First Take and all that, I don't even watch it. It's NFL Network. Same thing can be said on Sundays. I watch NFL Game Day because I love the camaraderie and takes of the NFL players with Rich Eisen, Cynthia Freeland doing the analytics, and all the things they do on that program versus the, and I'll admit, the more structured and more sophisticated ESPN program. Right? So let's get to some of the basics, right? ESPN is in final negotiations to acquire NFL Network and NFL Red Zone in a deal reportedly worth $2 billion. NFL Red Zone is what a lot of people go to when they don't want to get, Sunday Ticket or whatever. And they love it. Everybody loves it. That's the hottest ticket for the NFL Network during the season because it's their property. They can talk about every game and show parts of every game. Just not the full games, right? And when the NFL has to sell their property and sell to ESPN, what changes might be made? I don't know. Let's get to it. The NFL will receive a 10% stake, equity stake, in ESPN. That's huge. Making the league a partial owner of its own media distributor. That's like never get high on your own supply. But when it's only 10%, you don't have a lot, but you're also only one sport. ESPN covers all sports. But giving Jerry Jones and Roger Goodell some power at ESPN? An equity stake? Crazy move. a not-for-profit organization, which the NFL is, will have a 10% equity stake in ESPN, which is a for-profit organization under the Disney umbrella. Madness. The deal includes broadcast rights, studio assets, and content infrastructure, red zone, game day, archives, etc. So game day, NFL game day, will it continue? I'm going to get to that question in a second. But the archives is what ESPN will have. I like Randy Moss. I like the cast of characters they got up here on ESPN during the Sunday program. I do. But it does not beat Rich Eisen, Mooch, Kurt Warner, and now you got Gerald McCoy. Doesn't beat them. It doesn't beat the games that they play during the 3-hour broadcast. It is funny. I love it. I mean, I'm not the end-all be-all of a football fan and what to consume for your football intake during Sunday mornings or throughout the week. I love the analytics and the fantasy football aspect that NFL Game Day incorporates into their show, not just a segment like ESPN. ESPN has the ESPN Bet show and all that other stuff, and they occasionally bring in analytics for fantasy and all that stuff, but every game that NFL Network Game Day covers provides that information. Not just information, but the character. You fall in love with these characters, man. You get to see a side of these characters that says they're human. They have a lot more freedom to talk and say what they want on the NFL Network versus ESPN. And I'm telling you, if the NFL needs to sell this property, that's fine. But please don't get rid of NFL Game Day. I think it's a better product than what ESPN provides. The set's better. The commentary's better. The people are better. Just my thought. All right. Is this the most powerful merger of league and network since the NFL and AFL merger? But it's only in the media now. That's my question to you. Is it? Think about it. The NFL Network covers nothing but the NFL, but it does it so well. ESPN covers all sports, but has a heavy dent in the pocket of the NFL. They pay the NFL a lot of money to air their games. Now, if they consume the network, right? What does that say ESPN has? It's not a monopoly. It's monopolistic. It's not a monopoly, though, because Amazon still streams the games for the NFL. YouTube still streams Sunday Ticket, right? The NFL will not go out of existence or hurt because the property of NFL Network belongs to ESPN. The NFL brand itself saves a little bit of money because they're not the ones producing everything. That's ESPN's problem. So if the numbers dip, which I suspect they will, things might change. Oh my gosh. if a certain person sitting in the White House decides to tell another team, hey, change your name back or you're not going to get what you've already been promised, why are you bullying NFL teams? And then college signing an executive order telling third parties, hey, now I get that one. I ain't gonna make that big of a fuss of it. But you're the president. Stop worrying about that. There's commissioners and there's stakeholders in these organizations, not just the football teams or the basketball teams, whatever, but in the organizations that run the sport that do that. That doesn't mean it's going to stop just because you said it. But having ESPN getting involved, things might change. Strategically, ESPN gains total control of NFL Red Zone, long considered a fan favorite product. The NFL thought through its stakes gains influence inside ESPN, potentially shifting editorial balance. Maybe. It opened doors to executive streaming content on ESPN's upcoming direct-to-consumer app, rumored to cost $25 to $30 a month in 2025. This is where the Red Zone comes in. The Red Zone is going to be that exclusive streaming product on the ESPN app. It's, like I said, the flagship for Sunday for the NFL Network. I love game day, right? But if you put the Red Zone on an ESPN platform that solely streams, does it lose its luster? Does it lose some of its viewers because ESPN's app crashes? How many times are you going to, have your Red Zone crash on you before you're like, oh, no, I'm not watching this. Nah. I'll go to Buffalo Wild Wings. I'll go somewhere else. I'm not dealing with this. Will fans finally get a single streaming destination for Red Zone, Prime games, and Monday Night Football? Or does this hand too much power to ESPN? As I said, Amazon has the Thursday night games. They have a playoff game or two. They've got the Black Friday games. YouTube has Sunday Ticket. Even though this is monopolistic, right? There's a different type, monopoly and monopolistic. Look it up. ESPN skirts that line by owning the content that the NFL Network previously aired, right? And the videos that get broken down, all that, for a little influence from the NFL. Shouldn't have any influence, but if the FCC passes this, I don't want to talk about them. It's a major deal. Major deal. Huge ramifications. Huge. Not only for them, for the NFL and ESPN, but look at baseball. Look at basketball. Basketball has been on TNT for a while. A lot of people don't remember that Inside the NBA was on NBC with Ahmad Rashad and all those other guys before Turner got the rights. Selling your network to a franchise or a conglomerate is different. NBA TV doesn't have the best ratings. It doesn't. They're streaming a lot of the summer league stuff to keep you interested, right? All the old school basketball that I would watch, that's me. Younger folks, they're not watching that because that's not the brand of basketball they grew up on or they like, right? So a lot of people tune out. But if the NBA were to sell their rights to NBA TV, for NBA TV, so I don't know, ESPN, Amazon, some other large network, you have a lot of different things on your hands. Let's put it out there. Don't shoot the messenger. I want to know your thoughts. So, editorial independence concerns. Critics are questioning whether ESPN can objectively report on the NFL when the league becomes a partner. That's a serious ethical issue. Can you critically talk about your boss or your partner with no ramifications? Now, on the NFL Network, they do it all the time. They're employees of the NFL, but they're paid to break down the game. They don't talk that drastically about all the issues that go on in NFL. I can recall NFL Game Day having a segment, but not going in depth about, ownership blackballing Colin Kaepernick, or owners recorded comments about players. Like ESPN ran on ESPN News and during their broadcasts and programs stories about that. Not just a segment, but stories. Can they do that now if this goes through? Because now they're your partner. Are you willing to talk about your brand, because now they're part of the brand, the same way you did before they became a partner? I don't know. I really don't think they're going to. I think they're going to be muted or neutered just a bit, because now they have a 10% equity stake. It's like cutting off your nose to spite your face, if they do. Strange times, people, strange times. Concerns grow louder as personalities like Rich Eisen and Peter Schrager transition from NFL Network to ESPN, blurring the journalistic lines. When Peter Schrager left Good Morning Football and went to ESPN, I was hoping for a lot more of Peter Schrager than just being a contributor. He was a star. Literally, him and Kyle Brandt, put it this way, Kyle Brandt, Peter Schrager, Nate Burleson, and Kay Adams, the original four horsemen of Good Morning Football, brought life back to that network. Then they started to peel away. First, it was Nate. Then it was Kay. Peter. Kyle Brandt's there. How long? Right? How would Kyle Brandt, and this is the reason why I'm like, NFL Game Day and their personalities outshine ESPN's NFL Sunday Countdown. There is no Kyle Brandt type person on Countdown. Kyle Brandt is that energy that all of us that are football fans love. Him and Peter Schrager doing the Wall Street guys, forget about it. As obnoxious as the bit is, it is great because of the personalities. Now, some people might say that stuff wears off, and it does. But the person delivering that stuff has more to offer like that. And you put them in the box that ESPN puts their broadcasters in and their show hosts in, you neuter that talent. I would not be surprised if Kyle Brandt does not go if this happens. But he is a saving grace for Good Morning Football. I do like what's her name? young lady that replaced Kay Adams. I'm blanking right now, but I know her name, and I see her, but I can't remember right now. I like her, but she just doesn't have the same feel that Kay Adams has. Kay Adams has Up and Atom on, I believe it's a streaming service. I'm not sure which one. I think it's Twitch or something like that. Sponsored by Twitch or Amazon. And she's good, right? She's very good. I don't think this other young lady can do that by herself. She's great at sideline reporting. And she has a little bit of energy, but not the same type. That's what I mean. When you look at what's going on NFL Network with their personalities versus the personalities on ESPN, it's which one do you prefer as a football fan, right? The closest thing that ESPN has is College Game Day. That's like NFL Network's NFL Game Day because of Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee and Kyle Brandt together, oh my, that would be insane, right? But McAfee's not leaving his show. ESPN just paid him a crap ton of money to keep his show. But you put those two and Traeger, and they're covering Sunday football with Rich Eisen, Mooch, Kurt, and Gerald. I like Jeff Saturday. Doesn't compare. I like Randy Moss. Very, very, very in-depth conversations and stuff like that. Does great interviews. But he doesn't have the same juice like they do over there. I'm sorry. Ryan Clark's on everybody's hit list right now. He's on everybody's hit list right now. I don't know if you're going to do that. Manti Te'o, he's doing an admirable job on Good Morning Football right now. He could develop into a character that people like, and he would fit well with NFL Sunday Countdown. But I wouldn't tune in just for him. I think you have to look at Cynthia Freeland. They already have their analytics people over at ESPN. Cynthia Freeland, to me, is better. Just me. Adam, oh my gosh. I forgot Adam's last name. But you guys know what I'm talking about. He's on the fantasy show all the time, doing the hype train stuff. I love that dude, and I love his character. He doesn't fit on ESPN in their format. Unless you have that format, like I said, College Game Day, NFL Game Day. I prefer that. You might not. What do you prefer? But can they still be critical? I don't know. Here's some issues, right? The morning show comparisons. Like several of the morning show comparisons. Mike Greenberg hosts NFL Sunday Countdown with Adam Schefter, Rex Ryan, Ryan Clark, and Marcus Spears. I love Marcus Spears too, right? Schefter used to be on NFL Network, right? He left, went to ESPN, does what he does. Rex Ryan's cool. See, all these guys are cool, right? Rex Ryan, out of all of them, is the least measured one. Marcus Spears is dope, but I'll put it this way. I would keep Marcus Spears over Gerald McCoy. I like Gerald McCoy. I like the energy better of Marcus Spears. Rich Eisen, Mike Greenberg. Look, man, I like them both. I do. But let me do this. Here's a breakdown of the two shows. Strong production value, polished segments, fantasy integration, and storytelling, often criticized for being overproduced or less fan-driven. That's NFL Sunday Countdown. Right? NFL Network Game Day Morning, come on now. Previously hosted, it still is hosted. Don't give me that previously mess. By Rich Eisen, featuring Kurt Warner, Cynthia Freeland, Steve Mariucci, and Michael Irvin used to be on there. Oh my God, Michael Irvin made it. Right? His craziness made it. And other people, that's why it says previously hosted by. Known for more X's and O's breakdowns, spontaneous chemistry, and former player energy. I like all that. I love football that much. And I love the information I get from it. With Eisen and Schrager leaving, identity shift is underway. Eisen hasn't left. His podcast, his show has. Okay. Here we go. So I got a little breakdown here. Key differentiators. The style of the shows. NFL Game Day, casual, conversational. As a writer, as someone that does communication, that's what we aim for. Conversational, casual, so that you understand me. ESPN Countdown, scripted and polished. Nothing wrong with that. That's for the fan that wants a little bit of information and takes it for what it's worth. Right? No real explanation of what's going on. And not as much energy. Advantages, various by audiences. Analytics. Look, I already told you, Game Day is advanced. Freeland, amazing. Kurt Warner as well. But Freeland is the best in the business, in my opinion. Now, with ESPN Countdown, it's balanced. They have a fantasy focus, but throughout the entire show on Game Day morning, it's woven into every segment. Every segment. Advantage, Game Day morning. Audience appeal, the hardcore fan, which I am. Game Day. General NFL viewer is going to go to Countdown. That's what I'm saying. You want just enough to like get you to follow it. A casual, as the kids call it. I'm not a casual fan. You might be, but I'm not. That's why I'm drawn more to the NFL Game Day morning. Now, the analysis says that the casual fan has the advantage on Countdown because you're going to get a wider variety of an audience, right? Some people don't want to be bothered with all the X's and O's and shifts and stuff like that. I'll even tell you this. I listen to Sirius XM, and probably the best show on there is Jim Miller and Pat Kerwin. To me, because they break down everything. And the fans get on that show and break it down with them. It's a fan-driven show. There are other shows on Sirius XM I listen to, but the one I don't want to miss are Pat Kerwin and Jim Miller, especially now when they're going to the camps, right? What they do is they give you their insider analysis and allow us, the fans, to call in and break down what we think we see. And they say, well, yeah, no, maybe. You can think about this. What do you think about that? More NFL Countdown. Hardcore. Now, you've got some shows that have hosts that are very polished and scripted. Get your question in, you're done. That's it. Nothing more. They'll answer your question and they're moving on. That's just not what appeals to me. It might appeal to you, the casual fan, if you are that, but it doesn't appeal to me. All right, access to NFL facilities. Really? The NFL owns the network. So, NFL Game Day has access to all of them regardless. ESPN backed. They're allowed access. They're going to share or have a share shortly. But it's nothing like being able to just send your guys to a facility. Calling up the Browns and saying, hey, we're coming in and we're shooting this. Of course, you got to get approval by ownership and all other stuff, but that ownership is part of a board of all the owners. And if the NFL Network wanted to generate the most money, I understand they farm these things out to Netflix and HBO and Amazon, but if they held some of that content on their network, like quarterback or whatever, us hardcore fans, easy. But the advantage goes to ESPN in this situation, according to the analytics, because ESPN is not biased. I don't agree with that. I think the advantage goes to NFL Game Day because they have that full access to everybody and everything NFL related. Here we go. So here's my questions to you guys. In relation to the NFL Network and ESPN purchase, will fans migrate to ESPN exclusively for the NFL Red Zone and Game Day dissolves into one studio experience? Is that something that you as a fan, hardcore or casual, are going to do? I don't know. Is Countdown more advertiser friendly, or does Game Day's player first approach better connect with Gen Z and sports bettors? I'm gonna tell you my answer. I think Game Day appeals and connects better with Gen Z and sports bettors because you're getting all the analytics completely throughout the show. You're getting that as well on Countdown, but not in a way that a hardcore fan or somebody that really digs deep into sports or plays fantasy sports or even bets is going to get it. Now, Countdown, they have, like I said, the ESPN bet show that chimes in and gives the odds like that. DraftKings and FanDuel and all that sponsors NFL Network and the NFL. Does that now go to ESPN? I don't know. But for me, advertising, more friendly for football on NFL Network, but a broader scope and reach. The advantage is ESPN because you can advertise during any broadcast about football, during soccer, doing whatever program they got on. So they have the advantage. Disney is way bigger than the NFL. Deeper pockets. I don't care if you got 32 billionaires. Disney has the Marvel Universe, Disney itself, and Hulu and all the things that come with it. Which personalities survived the merger and which become the face of Sunday football pregame? That's my question. I already told you who I prefer. I want my folks from Good Morning, NFL Game Day, as opposed to NFL Countdown. I could switch Marcus Spears for Gerald McCoy, even though, hey, sooner, Gerald McCoy, I love you. You are great. But I like the energy more so from Marcus Spears, even though damn Dallas Cowboy, than I do from you. You have good energy. Marcus Spears got that I can connect with him energy. And I know it's wrong. The Sooner graduate, I'm supposed to support you, my brother. And I will, and I do. But the question is, which personalities survived the merger and which become the face of Sunday football pregame? If I had my druthers, all of NFL game day morning would do it. But if they force my hand, I'd give you up for Marcus Spears. Just put it out there. I like it, but that's what it is. All right. Another question. I only got a couple more for you guys. Which brand is better for return on investment? ESPN or the player-driven NFL game day morning? Which one has better return on investment? And let's quantify this or qualify it. Let's qualify it in the sense of the football season. I know when it's draft time, I look more at NFL Network than I do ESPN. I do. I love those commentators and the in-depth analysis they give me. I love Mel Kiper on ESPN. I love Peter Schrags. I wish he was back on NFL Network. I really don't have a big connection to the folks on ESPN's NFL draft coverage. NFL Welcome Back Weekend starts today, and they're all over. I know ESPN has some too, but their programming is solely that. So during the football season, which really, think about it, begins now through February, I think the return on investment, the highest return on investment is NFL Network. But again, ESPN touches a larger audience. So dollars and cents wise, yes, it's ESPN. Whether I agree with it or disagree with it. As a fan, as a hardcore fan, I'm definitely going to roll with NFL Network, and Game Day. But I understand the business side of me says the better ROI is with ESPN. That's all these guys care about. What's the bottom line? Return on investment, ROI. Who is the NFL fan going to trust more? That's another question. Do fans trust NFL-controlled content or independent studio breakdowns? I trust the breakdowns myself. I like the NFL to provide the information, former players, and I don't want to say characters, but personalities to break it down for me if it doesn't jive with what I'm thinking, so I can get a better understanding of it. NFL Network does that for me. ESPN, they do it, but in such short increments that it's like, okay, well, if you don't get it, you don't get it, too bad. On to the next topic. Legacy versus future. Is ESPN absorbing NFL media a natural evolution or the death of diversity in football journalism? It's a very good question. NFL's not getting absorbed. It's the media side that's getting absorbed. And we know ESPN fires people left and right. NFL Network recently did it as well. But here's a question, another question. Do you watch the NBC versions of these shows? Because NBC Network has Eric Carable and the rest of those guys that does this. But you're not on NBC Network, are you? CBS, same deal. CBS Network. Now, Fox and CBS, and then the Sunday night game, those are three different crews that compete, other than the Sunday night game, with Good Morning, NFL Game Day Morning, and NFL Countdown. I'll be very honest with you. I would watch Fox's version over ESPN's. I have watched CBS's version over NFL Network a few times, but I've never watched NFL Countdown over CBS when those are the two that I'm provided. It's just me. It's just me, just my preference. I want to know what you guys think, and I want to thank you for hanging out with me. It's a pretty long episode, but I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it. I look forward to talking to you guys next Saturday. Remember, Thursday is the Hall of Fame game. The induction happens Saturday. Football is here. I'll begin my IDP breakdown next week. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. We'll see. I love you guys, and I appreciate your time here with me. We'll see you next week. I'm gonna do this right. I'm gonna do this right. Here we go. Out of here.
Fantasy, sports, and politics. Get ready to rumble! You wanna talk smack? You in the right place. So take a step back before I get all up in your
Remember, because I don't remember. I remember every bit of this.
You're the dudes holding on the phone line. Your voice will be heard, sir.
Next caller, please.
Oh!
Eric's gonna get him.
Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics.
Listeners are asking questions about this week's games, not Jerry's personal beef. So what's your thought?